Have you ever heard a sound in a track? Something that feels, I don't know, familiar, but also kind of otherworldly.
Yeah, like it swells up out of nowhere.
Exactly. It builds and builds, creates this real sense of mystery. It's actually a classic production trick. And today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. The world of reverse reverb. It's been this sort of secret weapon in music for, well, for decades.
Absolutely. Transforms sounds completely.
So for this deep dive, we've been looking closely at the manual for RewindVerb. It's a rack extension from Turn-to-One software.
Right.
And it's designed to bring this classic effect, but with, modern tweaks right into your setup.
Yeah, making it much easier than the old ways.
Definitely. But our mission today isn't just about the plugin. We want to go back, trace where reverse reverb even came from.
The history is fascinating.
Understand its impact, across different types of music, and then see how something like RewindVerb brings that magic back today.
Should be some aha moments, I think. We're going to turn sound upside down.
Okay, so the whole idea of reverse reverb, it feels like digital magic, doesn't it? Something you'd need a computer for.
You'd think so, yeah.
But it actually started way back, all analog. How did they even do that? Where did this sonic sorcery begin?
Well, what's really cool is that it wasn't some fancy box. It was pure, human cleverness back in the 60s.
In the 60s?
Yeah. Driven by the gear. They had mainly analog tape machines. Engineers back then, they didn't have DOIs or plugins, right?
Right, just tape and consoles.
So they came up with this really smart, hands-on method. They'd record a dry signal, say a vocal, with its natural reverb tail onto tape. Standard stuff so far. But here's the genius part. They'd physically take that tape off the machine, flip it over, and thread it back on backwards.
Oh, literally backwards.
Literally backwards. So when they played it back, the reverb tail, which normally fades out,
would fade in instead, before the actual vocal hit.
Exactly. It played before the dry signal. Then they'd mix that reversed swelling sound back into the original recording.
Ah, okay.
And that created that unmistakable kind of ghostly pre-echo swell. The sound that seems to bleam out of silence.
That sounds incredibly fiddly.
Oh, it was. Super painstaking. You needed precision, patience, but the sound. Totally new, totally revolutionary.
Incredible. Just pure tape manipulation.
Yeah.
So who were the pioneers? Who first grabbed this idea and ran with it?
Well, you got to think about people like George Martin.
The Beatles producer.
Right. And Les Paul, another huge innovator. These guys weren't just making records. They were like sonic scientists in the studio.
Always pushing things.
Always pushing. They messed around constantly with tape reversal, not just for reverb, but for all sorts of weird time-bending effects, creating these surreal textures.
And that sound caught on quickly.
Almost instantly. One of the first really famous examples is the Beatles' Rain from '66.
Rain, okay. I need to listen for that.
You really do. Listen closely to the vocals near the end. You can clearly hear that backward sound. It gave the track this incredibly unique psychedelic feel that was a direct result of flipping the tape. And then you had bands like Pink Floyd who took it even further. Think about A Saucerful of Secrets from '68.
Ah, classic Floyd.
Yeah, they used it to build these huge, eerie, backward soundscapes. It became a massive part of their whole experimental vibe. These early uses basically wrote the playbook.
So it wasn't just a Beatles or Floyd thing then. It really found its place in certain styles of music.
Oh, absolutely. It went way beyond just psychedelia. It became almost essential for shoegaze music, for instance.
Shoegaze, right. Like My Bloody Valentine. Or Slow Dive.
Exactly. Bands like Slow Dive, Ride, they drenched their guitars in it. That washed out, blurry, atmospheric guitar sound. A lot of that is reverse reverb, creating these ambient textures. It was key to that whole dreamy vibe.
Makes sense.
And then you have artists like the Cocteau Twins.
Oh, yeah, I love them.
And Brian Eno. They used it loads in their ambient and experimental stuff, building these incredibly atmospheric sound worlds. It just has this emotive power,
Yeah. It definitely sounds like it has this iconic past. But, I mean, fast forward to today, we've got plugins for everything. Is reverse reverb still, relevant? Is it still a secret weapon or more of a niche thing now?
That's a really good question. And honestly, yes, absolutely still relevant, maybe even more so in some ways.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Because of the unique feeling it creates. It messes with your perception of time in a way few other effects do. So for sound design, It's huge.
Right.
You can use it on vocals to add this mysterious quality, make drums hit with this kind of explosive, unnatural impact.
Like the sound arrives before the hit.
Exactly. Or use it for transitions between song sections. It builds this anticipation, this otherworldly sense of something's coming.
Okay, I can hear that.
And modern artists definitely still use it. Think about someone like the Chemical Brothers.
Yeah, their sound is huge.
They use reverse reverb quite a bit, actually, on beats, on guitar riffs. It helps create that big psychedelic driving energy they have. It's not just about sounding vintage. It's a dynamic tool for adding tension and excitement right now.
Which, I guess, leads us perfectly to RewindVerb, a modern way to get that sound. Tell us about it.
Right, so RewindVerb is a rack extension designed specifically for the Reason platform by Turn2On software. And it really nails that classic reverse reverb sound, but it doesn't stop there. They've taken that core idea and expanded on it with modern controls, blending the old school vibe with new flexibility.
So it's more than just an emulation.
Oh yeah, much more. Think of it like a time machine for your audio. It makes getting those lush, complex reverse effects, for vocals, drums, synths, whatever way, more intuitive than flipping tape.
Fun, I bet.
You get that studio quality reverse sound instantly, but with controls that let you sculpt it precisely. It basically takes that old manual process and puts it in a flexible digital tool.
And you mentioned it's a rack extension. For people maybe not familiar with Reason, what does that mean?
Good point. Rack extensions are Reason's own plugin format. They're known for being super stable, and they integrate perfectly into Reason's rack environment.
Like virtual hardware units you can patch together.
Exactly. And what's great about Reason itself now is that it's not just standalone anymore. You can run it as a VST or AU plugin inside other DAWs too.
Oh, cool. So you can use RewindVerb even if your main DAW isn't Reason.
Precisely. You run the Reason Rack plugin, and RewindVerb lives inside that. And Turn2On seems really committed to this format, developing more creative effects and tools, which is great for producers looking for new sounds.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we know the history. We know what RewindVerb aims to do. Let's get into the controls. How does it actually let you shape that reverse sound? The manual lays out quite a few parameters.
Yeah, and they've done a good job balancing power with ease of use. It starts with the core stuff. The reverb tail shaping. This is where you define the actual character of the reverse swell.
Okay.
You've got pre-delay, which is key for timing. It lets you control exactly when that reverse swell starts relative to your dry signal. You can sync it rhythmically.
So it lands right on the beat or just before it.
Exactly. Then there's size. This changes the virtual space, from a tight little room feel to massive cavernous echoes. It affects the density and character of the reverb before it gets reversed.
Right. And with stereo stuff.
Yep. Controls the stereo spread of the wet reversed signal. You can keep it centered or make it super wide and enveloping.
Nice.
Then decay time is crucial. How long does that reversed tail last? You can go for short, punchy swells or these long, dreamy washes that seem to go on forever.
That sounds like where the magic happens.
A lot of it, yeah. And diffusion controls how smooth the reverb reflections are. Higher diffusion gives you a softer, more blurred, cloud-like sound. Lower is more distinct echoes.
Okay.
But then there's modulation. This is where it gets really interesting and modern. It adds pitch wobble, kind of like a chorus, to the reverb tail before it's reversed.
Oh, wow. So the swell itself can shimmer or warble.
Exactly. You can use it subtly for a bit of movement or crank it for really wild, unstable, glitchy effects. That opens up a ton of sound design potential way beyond traditional reverse reverb.
That sounds powerful. But long modulated reverb tails can get messy in a mix, right? Does it help with that?
Absolutely. That's where the filters control comes in, what they call smart spectral shaping. Essential stuff.
How does that work?
You get a low WCUT filter, which is basically a high pass. It cuts out muddy, low frequencies from the reverb tail, keeping your mix clean down there.
Super important.
Totally. And you get a high GHC8, a low pass filter, to tame any harsh or fizzy high frequencies. This keeps the reverse swell smooth and prevents it from sounding brittle or piercing. These filters make it much easier to sit the effect perfectly in your track.
Mix ready, basically.
Exactly. And speaking of mixing, you have the mix and levels control. Standard mix knob for blending the dry signal and the wet reverse signal. Simple enough.
Your basic blend.
But you also get separate DRY and wet level controls. This gives you finer control if you want to, say, boost the effect level while keeping the original signal volume steady, or vice versa.
More flexibility.
Yeah. And finally, there's an input trim. This lets you adjust the signal level going into the effect. Useful for hitting it just right, avoiding digital clipping, or maybe driving it a little for some subtle saturation if the algorithm allows.
Okay, that sounds really comprehensive. A lot of control there, from the vintage feel to modern shaping. If you had to boil it down, though, what are the killer features, the things that really make RewindVerb stand out?
Good question. The manual highlights 3, and I think they nail it. First, it's those tape-style reverse swells. It really captures that vibe, you know? That subtle warmth and imperfection of the old tape method. It's not just a clean digital reverse, it has character.
The authentic pre-echo feel.
Exactly. Second, I'd say the dynamic stereo and modulation. Combining that width control with the pitch modulation lets you create these incredibly deep moving textures that feel alive, not just static. That's huge for ambient stuff, or adding subtle interest.
Right, the movement.
And third, definitely the smart spectral shaping. Having those built-in low and high cut filters specifically for the reverb tail is just so practical. It makes it so much easier to get complex reverse sounds to sit nicely in a busy mix without extra EQs, clean and mix ready.
Vintage heart, modern brain, basically.
That's a good way to put it. It's that blend that makes it really useful.
Okay, so we have this powerful tool. How would you actually use it? What kind of creative techniques could people try to really push RewindVerb?
Oh, tons of ways. For vocals, like we touched on, use a long decay, maybe high diffusion for those really ethereal, ghostly swells leading into a phrase.
Yeah.
Or automate the mix knob or even the pitch modulation over the course of a line so the effect kind of breathes and evolves with the performance.
Ooh, nice idea. What about drums?
Drums are great fun.
Yeah.
Try it on just the snare hit, set the timing right so you get this whoosh that builds right before the crack of the snare. Adds massive impact.
Like an explosion in reverse.
Totally. Or put it on a cymbal crash or even a whole percussion loop. Set it to 100% wet and use it as a riser effect building into a new section. Creates amazing tension.
Cool. And guitars and synths. Seems like a natural fit.
Absolutely. Combine it with a regular delay pedal or plug in afterwards. You get the reverse swell into a normal delay trail. That creates these huge, spatial, psychedelic washes.
Sounds very shoegazy.
Definitely got that vibe. Or go nuts with the pitch modulation on a synth pad. Make it really extreme for unstable, glitchy, almost broken-sounding tails. Great for experimental textures.
So it's not just for pretty sounds.
Not at all. And for general sound design and transitions, it's a killer. Put it before a big drop or a breakdown in an electronic track to signal something's about to change. Builds that energy.
Right.
Or get really creative. Maybe freeze a normal reverb tail from another plugin. Bounce it to audio, reverse that, and then feed it into RewindVerb for layered, complex, haunting textures.
Whoa, okay. Reverseception.
Something like that. It's really about experimenting and seeing what happens. Don't be afraid to push it.
So, it really sounds like whether you want that classic vintage tape sound or you're trying to design something totally new and futuristic, RewindVerb gives you the tools.
Yeah, I think it offers a really wide palette. It's about precision shaping, but also about sparking creative ideas.
And if people want to try it.
Definitely check it out. Turn to Dawn offers a 30-day free trial through the Reason Studio shop. No risk. You can just install it and play around.
Good to know.
And honestly, supporting developers like Turn to Dawn who are making these kinds of interesting creative tools for formats like rack extensions is important. It helps them keep innovating.
Absolutely. It fuels more cool stuff down the line. Okay, so wrapping this up, thinking about the bigger picture here. Reverse reverb isn't just, another effect preset.
No, not at all.
It feels like it says something interesting about how we play with time in music. You're literally hearing the effect before the cause.
Right. It flips our usual perception completely, a sound swelling into existence from its own echo.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Oh.
What does that mean for a sound to exist before its source? It kind of breaks the linear flow we expect.
It does.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for everyone listening.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond just reverse reverb, how else can we creatively mess with the listener's perception of time in music?
Yeah.
What other techniques could create truly unique sonic stories that challenge how we normally hear things progress?
That's a deep one. Playing with expectations of time.
Yeah.
Lots to explore there.